Welcome to this explainer. If you're watching this right now, you're probably a developer trying to navigate that overwhelming wave of AI tools hitting our industry. There's just a lot of anxiety out there about AI taking over coding, and honestly, a whole lot of noise. So today, we're doing something different. We're bringing you a calm, authoritative look at what is actually happening. No hype, no panic. Just a clear, structured analysis of a massive shift in exactly how software is being built today. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and copy-paste stuff, and it mostly works. Okay, just take a second and really absorb that. That quote is from Andrej Karpathy, literally one of the most respected AI researchers on the planet. And when he dropped that in early 2025, it caused a real panic in the developer community. And honestly, that panic was partially justified. But it also wasn't the whole story. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We're going to cover 1. What vibe coding actually is. 2. Where vibe coding shines. 3. The hidden production failures. 4. The developer at risk. 5. Career survival moves. And finally, 6. Source validation. Let's start with section 1. What vibe coding is. You know, by 2026, this term got totally stretched. People were using it to mean everything from basic autocomplete in your IDE to full-blown agentic generation where an AI just writes your entire codebase while you sit back and watch. It caused a ton of confusion. But Karpathy's original specific definition is fascinating. Vibe coding is basically prompt-first development that's intensely focused on output speed. It's an approach where you describe what you want, you evaluate the result, and if it breaks, well, you just write another prompt. The absolutely crucial part of this definition is the idea that the developer fully gives in to the vibes and kind of forgets the code even exists. And look, prioritizing pure output over a deep review of the code, yeah, that's exactly what rightly makes experienced developers incredibly nervous. But we absolutely cannot ignore the reality of its adoption. By late 2025, Karpathy himself stated that 80% of his code was being written by AI systems. He honestly called it, quote, hard on the ego, but too useful to abandon. That sets the stage perfectly, doesn't it? It's real and it's being heavily used at the very highest levels, which means we need to take an honest look at what this approach actually does incredibly well. Which brings us to section 2, where vibe coding shines. To be completely fair and objective here, because we aren't just universally bashing AI today, there are real categories of work where this approach is absolutely fantastic. Vibe coding is brilliant for exploratory prototyping, where speed is everything. It easily chews right through that repetitive boilerplate and scaffolding that, let's be honest, we've all written 100 times. It acts as an amazing rapid tutor when you're in unfamiliar territory, giving you a really fast starting point. Oh, and it is ideal for spinning up non-critical internal tools where nobody really needs a handcrafted architecture. So the crucial point is this. Vibe coding is perfect when the cost of being wrong is low or when speed is your absolute top priority. But that brings us to a really pivotal question. What actually happens when you apply that exact same prototyping mindset to massive scaling production systems? Section 3. The hidden production failures. I'll just state this directly. The failure modes of vibe coding are incredibly dangerous because they aren't obvious. They look like perfectly working code right up until the system is placed under immense pressure. You get these really subtle state management race conditions that breeze through tests, but totally fail under weird user flows. You get invisible performance degradation, like unoptimized arrays that are blazing fast in dev, but absolutely crawl under real production load. You get compounding architectural contradictions because, well, the AI doesn't know why you made a specific design choice 3 months ago. And you get baked-in security assumptions. As practitioners like Simon Willison have pointed out, when you just accept generated code without reviewing it, your system basically becomes a giant, unmanageable black box. To summarize the core problem here, vibe coding optimizes for output over understanding. But production systems absolutely require understanding. When a team doesn't understand the underlying architecture of a system, normal everyday pressure easily turns into an unmanageable crisis because suddenly nobody knows why the system was built the way it was in the first place. Section 4. The developer at risk. So who should actually be sweating about this shift? It really comes down to a stark divide in how you work, and this brilliantly illustrates the point. Consider the skilled executor. Their value is throughput, they implement without really questioning things, and they know exactly how to code. This developer is genuinely threatened by vibe coding because their entire value proposition is pure execution. Now, contrast that with the system architect. They value insight, they understand downstream implications, and they deeply know why a system is built a certain way. This developer is safe. Why? Because they bring a level of architectural judgment that AI simply doesn't have yet. And this is a massive industry shift. Execution is being commoditized, and judgment is becoming the primary thing companies are willing to pay for. We've seen analysis from industry sources like the Pragmatic Engineer showing that companies are actively reducing their junior headcount right now in favor of AI-augmented senior developers. Your ability to purely execute, it's just no longer enough.
Section 5. Career Survival Moves.
Here is your actionable roadmap to evolve your career away from pure execution and toward that highly valued judgment. Number 1, start having strong opinions about architecture. Always be asking why in code reviews. 2, absolutely use AI, but rigorously own what it produces. Treat it as a rough first draft, definitely not a final product. 3, you need to build deep debugging skills. Tracing a failure in a complex, stateful system remains a deeply human talent. 4, develop your cross-functional communication so you can translate tech realities for business stakeholders. And finally, number 5, you must stop defining yourself by your tools. Optimize for system comprehension rather than just output speed. Don't just be a React developer. Be a developer who builds reliable, bulletproof systems. Section 6. Source Validation. It's really important to me that you know this explainer is based on broad industry consensus, not just personal opinion. We synthesized primary creators like Andrej Karpathy and Simon Willison for the origins and the real hard limits of this in production. We used analysis from the Pragmatic Engineer and daily.dev for that solid career bifurcation data. And we grounded it all in frontline community debates from Hacker News and experienced developer forums to make sure we captured real technical objections from people doing the work. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought today. Take a real hard look at your own day-to-day work. Are you building your career on output speed, or are you building it on architectural judgment? The developers who treat AI as a total replacement for understanding, they're going to build systems that completely crack under pressure. But those who use it to augment their own judgment, they are the ones who will absolutely thrive in this new era of agentic engineering. So evaluate your trajectory today and definitely keep exploring. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.